Yeah, you said something earlier that reminded me of the Clubhouse situation. Are you aware of this? Or
The Clubhouse?
yes, it's a new social media app, and instead of text-based posts, what it is these little voice rooms that people go into, and you'll have all sorts of people that are actually like talking together in these different rooms. It's like it's an exclusive thing. You can only be on Clubhouse if you get an invite from a current member.
Okay.
And the New York Times did this one article that was criticizing it, calling it, it's saying that it was describing it in a negative way with its quote unquote unfettered conversations. And so, it's
God
talks about
forbid
all the,
anybody should have an unfettered
it
conversation.
talks about everything from what was it? The New York Times mentioned it has conversations ranging from cosmic poetry to um, lack of LGBT diversity in Bollywood movies to um,
That's great.
to all sorts of different, a bunch of celebrities are on there. Elon Musk is on there.
Huh.
um, you know Brett Weinstein and all sorts of people, um, comedians, but also, but it's this way that you know people are starting to resort to all these different other ways to connect with people and get these
Yeah.
different ideas out that they're just not hearing other places. So
Yeah, and I think that's the evolution of humanity. When I see this, it's like either it's this idea that for some reason the leaders have to do everything and it's top down, but really society is driven by people up. It's the masses. And if you look at all of human history, it's like we always get to this point where for some reason the leaders get corrupted and whatever, and we have to overthrow them, right? I mean, it's like everywhere, all throughout our history, pretty much every society has gotten to the point where for some reason the people that lead us get so separated from what the people are, and then we overthrow them. We put in the people that know, right? And then 20, 50, 100 years go by, and now there's another revolution because they
mm,
become corrupted. So how do we create a system where we can have better leaders that don't become corrupted? And to
mm,
me, it all came down to these founding values. One of the biggest epiphanies I had when I was writing this book, I was deep into Freud and Jung and all the other
mm,
mentalists, and there's this big fight in psychology back in the day. Skinner, I think, was one, where it's like you change your mind, you change who you are, or you change your physical activities, it changes who you are. The truth is, it's both of those things, right? But when I was reading all of this, it came down to I can't remember the exact phrase, but Freud used, and it kind of clicked in me because all of our faiths, all of our psychology, the whole point of life, is become a better person, right? And, create a better society, go to heaven, that kind of thing. But it all boils down to these core values, because it's like your core values are what determine how you act every day, how you see the world, what you do. I mean, these core values determine who you become and who humanity becomes. The problem is that most of us don't know what these are, or we only have a couple, but they're not complete. They don't cover all of life. And when I studied humanity, I found that there are about 10 laws that do cover all of life, that will act as a compass, as a guide, and will allow you to navigate any situation you're in. And I put those in the book. Um, and those were one of the first things I discovered, like when I had this big spiritual experience when I was like 19 years old. I want to say I was given these 10 laws. I don't know, shown the 10 laws. I don't know, discovered them, however you want to say it. And it it really does kind of fix a lot of the problems. And it's like I keep repeating, treating people as you would want to be treated, as equals, respecting life. The purpose of life is to become your true self, live a true life, and go to heaven. The purpose of our society is to become its true society. Those are just the five, but those basics kind of determine all of who you are. You know what I mean? It's like my purpose in life, a purpose of our society, what I'm supposed to be doing every day, how I'm supposed to treat the world, how I'm supposed to treat the universe, how I'm supposed to treat other people. It's like those are the basics. So everything else we do kind of can build out from there. And I don't feel like our leaders have a grasp on some of these things. I mean, even the most hardcore religious leaders don't have this. It's like,
mm-hmm.
and every one of our faiths has gotten so fractured. They've gotten so far away from what the messenger was trying to communicate. Sometimes it's mind-boggling, to me.
Mhm.
And just to be clear, when I look at this, like God, you have God, then you have the organizations that we manifested on this planet to kind of speak to this idea of the divine, religion, right? Then we have the messengers. Those are the first people like Abraham and Muhammad and Christ that kind of had their message. And then there's the books, right? There's always books or some type of
Mhm.
writings or information. All of those things are separate. You know, God is God. God is not a book. You know,
Mhm.
the people of the past are not God. You know, I mean, people believe that Jesus Christ is part God or a representation of God. Um, but at the same time, God, Christ is human. So we as a people have to realize that our organizations, I don't care what it is, can be flawed. We're flawed. You know, we can become corrupted. So can our organizations. The challenge within our faiths is not to give up our intellect or our soul or our conscience. I mean, how much conscience do you have to give up to go and start murdering people in the name of Christ? Um, you know what I mean? It's like we can't go against our higher ideals to follow a faith. The faith, if it's doing that, has become twisted. You know,
Mhm.
it's like not everything that is of an organization is good. You know what I mean? It's like the Catholic Church. Just look at that with the
Mhm.
child molestation thing. I mean, that's been going on. It's not just now. I mean, it's been on thousands and thousands of years. I mean, it goes back to the Roman times when that used to be something they used to do. You know what I mean? The Romans uh, used to have sex with boys. It's kind of a
Yep.
weird thing, right? And then
Yep.
the church took over the Roman, you know, the Holy Roman Catholic Church and all of that. I mean, it's just kind of been pervasive. Uh, so the question is, like I said, it's like, how do we fix all of this? You know, it's like, it's so deep, it's so rooted, but it's also very simple because if you adhere to these core values, you can do any of these things, you know, you just couldn't. It's not, you know, we couldn't be destroying the world if we respected life and, you know, what kind of caregivers are we? All of that idea, you know what I mean? We couldn't treat people this way. So my belief is the most powerful position on our planet are the caregivers, as the moms, you know, the dads, but especially moms a lot of times. But or if there isn't a mom, that's the person that are raising this kid. Because if we raise good children, we'll create better leaders. If we raise good children, we'll create a better society. You can't legislate your way into morality. You have to create the want to be good. You know what I mean? If the only thing that's stopping people from murdering each other is your horrible laws, you know, that you're going to torture them and all this, what kind of society do you have? You know what I mean? It's like you want to create a society where people don't want to murder each other. You know, I mean, that's kind of the idea. You want them to feel like they want to help each other. So that's the question. You know, how do we fix our society so that, yeah, sure, we have all these laws, but people aren't breaking the law.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? How do we
Yep.
end desperation and want and worry and all of those kind of things?
Mhm.